cars. You've seen them in the movies, you see them in real life, and even in magazines. But have you ever wondered, why do old cars look better compared to the ones that we own today? Well, get ready for a list of the top 10 greatest vintage cars that dominated modern technology and modern vehicle history. Number 10. Nissan Silvia S13 from 1989. Okay, so maybe one of the flashiest sports cars dated off to the era of the 1980s. The 1989 Nissan S13 Silvia is definitely one of the most recognizable sports cars that lived in the past, but also dominated the roads, magazines, and movies today. Coming up for that date, it's still going as strong because, you can't perfect old age from a modern era. Number 9. 1971 Dodge Challenger. The Challenger is definitely one of the greatest sports cars yet in great history. Among other things, the Dodge Challenger from 1971 is definitely one of the sports cars that has lived in the past. Starting off with 1969, I do not obviously relate with any other sports cars that did live in the past, but let's just say that the Dodge Challenger counts. Number 8. 1974 Ford Escort. One of the greatest rally cars in history that took place right on for the age is definitely the Ford Escort. Released in 1974, this project rally car is definitely one of the most iconic and yet recognizable sports cars of its era. And judging by the fact that this car was made to be out simplistic, it's never too late to try out, even though it's an old car. Number 7. Dodge Monaco Police Car from 1977. If America told you anything about cars, it's definitely being in the old times. The 1977 Dodge Monaco was definitely one of the most meanest police cars in history. And judging by the fact it's between 1970s and the 80s, people obviously think, why do old cars still exist today even though it's been a year or so? Well, let's just say that old cars live longer compared to the new ones. Number 6. 1968 Volkswagen Bug. Okay, if you guys know anything about Germans, well, the first car of Volkswagen or Volkswagen is definitely the very first car that Volkswagen has created. Released for World War I and World War II by Adolf Hitler at that time, the Volkswagen Beetle was the very first car made by Volkswagen. During the 1960s and the 70s, the hippies actually used old Volkswagens because they were more reliable and easy to fix. And they're pretty much eco-friendly because of their air-cooled rear-mounted engines. And guess what? During the 1960s in America, the Volkswagen Beetle represents the power of love. Starting off with 1969's The Love Bug from Disney, and later on adapted more sequels such as Herbie Rides Again in 1974, Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo from 1977, Herbie Goes Bananas in 1980, and then you got the TV remake of The Love Bug in 1997 by Bruce Campbell, and then you got Herbie Fully Loaded in 2005. Yeah, definitely one of the greatest times of that era. Number 5. 1946 Ford Super Deluxe Convertible. One of the most beefiest and recognizable cars of the 40s was definitely a Ford. Well, not the Ford Escort because the Ford Escort is in 1974, but this car for number 5 is definitely a great car of the past, which is a 1946 Ford Super Deluxe Convertible. Well, actually, one of the cars at that time used to be a hardtop roadster. Yeah, they were definitely used about most ages. And back in the time of the 40s and 50s, old 1940s fashioned cars were used as NASCAR because that's where NASCAR originates. Number 4. 1964 Aston Martin DB5. Anyone up for a classic, well, of the use of a car? Anybody up for James Bond, I believe? Well, here's your obvious point, darlings. The 1964 Aston Martin DB5 is the perfect car for a special someone. Grandeur as James Bond, voiced by Daniel Craig, definitely drove one of the most fanciest and elegant use of sports cars in the past. Number 3, 1994 Mitsubishi Lancer EVO 3 Jackie Chan. If you guys know anything about the 1990s, then you definitely rock out with Mitsubishi. Back when Mitsubishi made cars as cool as this, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution is definitely one of the most legendary cars in automobile history. Used for WRC racing as a rally car, this legendary four-door beast later became a road machine for the US and later was performed and driven by legendary actor Jackie Chan, used for his 1995 film Thunderbolt. Definitely a great car film, and definitely a great pastime to show off what old cars can do in a modern time like this. Number 2, 1983 Toyota AE86, initial D. One of the coolest and yet recognizable Corollas at that time would definitely be in the 1983 year. The Toyota Apex GT86, also known as Toyota AE86, is one of the cars used for the anime series and manga Initial D, driven by Takumi Fujiwara. Yeah, you guessed it. This car definitely deserves to be number 2 on the list. Number 1 is definitely going up on the list, and that is the 1991 BMW M5 Series E34. One of the most coolest things about the BMWs back then is because BMW's technology exists during 1990s, and guess what? Before BMW was a car company, it was actually an engineering company for, well, airplanes. You guessed it, BMW really did so well. And guess what? Modern technology would have never existed if BMW never became so advanced in using technology in the past. And guess what? The BMW M5 E34 is definitely one of the cars that was great for reminiscing about the past because it's a classic. I mean, just look at it. 4 headlights, that square split grille, can't go wrong with that. And pretty much this car was pretty much the most indominous point of view when the M5 was released, as something you wouldn't obviously expect, but I believe no one could ever doubt such a beautiful car like this. And there you have it, folks. That is the top 10 classic cars found in modern history that still dominates to this day. I hope you guys enjoy watching this video. Make sure that you go sub, like, and don't forget to click that notification bell. See you guys next time.